Hello and welcome to our next #DiscoverLC live stream. Today we are joined by a couple of program leads and tutors from the Trowel Trades section of our construction courses. And if you don't know what that means, like I didn't until about a week ago, it means bricklaying and plastering. So I've got a couple of people here who are going to answer a lot of questions all about the course to make sure that we're all, clued up on what's going on. So the first person I'd like to introduce you to is Keith. Hi, Keith.
Hiya.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Keith Binns. I'm program lead for Trowel Trades. That includes bricklaying and plastering. I'm a bricklayer by trade, and my main area of delivery is the bricklaying courses. Presently, with most of my time spent with the full-time learners on the courses.
Fab, nice and short and sweet there, as promised. I'm glad about it. And next up we have Jeff. Hiya, Jeff.
Hello there. My name's Jeff Otti. I've been working in plastering for a long time. If you have a look at the hairstyle, you'll probably see the results. I started plastering way back in 1976, doing my apprenticeship, and I've been teaching since approximately 1989, and I deliver across all the plastering courses. Okay.
Amazing. Thanks, Jeff. And last but not least is Lee. Hiya, Lee.
Hi, you all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My name's Lee Murray. I'm teaching bricklaying at the Leicester College. I've been teaching there now for 15 years, living every minute of it and going bold just like Jeff.
Is that a trait then? Are all plasterers and bricklayers bolding?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Someone should tell Keith that, because I think he's missed the memo.
No, I've still got a bit. I'm all right, yeah.
Good. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions sort of to just go over. If you are watching and you have any questions about any of the courses, do feel free to comment them below and we'll try our best to answer them. But before we sort of get any of those questions, I've got a couple of ones that we've sort of compiled from previous questions. So a question for you all: will a student have to sit any exams to pass the courses? Who wants to go first? Jeff?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yes, they will have to sit an examination. Most of our courses will be doing a level 2 technical certificate, and that involves sort of a sit down and on theory examination, but it also involves various other aspects. So they will also be written assignments, written tasks that are linked to the examination, and they will also have a certain amount of what's classed as meaningful employer involvement within that qualification structure.
Cool.
Okay.
And Keith, you talk about your
I'll just add to what Jeff was saying there. Obviously, the end exam is one of the key elements. It is a multiple choice exam, but what students need to understand is that there is only one opportunity to resit that exam, should they unfortunately fail it at the first attempt. And despite the fact the college year runs through to the end of June, the learners will actually sit the exam around about the end of March. So the delivery for the theory side of the bricklaying and plastering full-time courses is very, very short. We've got a lot to cover in a short time and a very early exam with one resit opportunity in June. As far as the practical assessment, as Jeff sort of muted to, there is a practical. It's called a synoptic assessment. It's like an exam. Now, with that element of the course, there is no resit allowed. So learners have to pass that element first time in order to gain their qualification.
Okay, and sort of for those of us who sort of don't know necessarily what a synoptic exam is, what does that sort of mean for a student?
Okay, well, if it's in plastering, it will involve a range of plastering elements put together as a holistic task, where the learners will have to do various applications within a set time frame with no assistance from tutors or anybody else. Similarly, for the bricklaying learners, they will have to do a 10-hour practical assessment as part of that synoptic process. And again, it's about taking on board the task with the information that they are given and doing it with no assistance, and hopefully doing it within the 10 hours that they are permitted to have to complete.
Cool, right. Okay. So in talking about like practical work and that kind of thing, obviously a course like bricklaying and plastering is very sort of hands-on. But what is sort of the practical work to written work balance like?
I think I'd sort of originally, my guidelines I put down that I thought it was somewhere in the region of sort of a 60-40-40. 60 towards the practical side, 40 towards the theoretical side. I mean, that might vary slightly depending on whether students have to do any English or maths or LEAP. You know, there's various other aspects that come into the course. So depending on those, it could be slightly greater towards the theory.
Cool.
Okay.
Is that the same for bricklaying and stuff?
To some degree, as Jeff's mentioned, the study programme holistically has a number of elements which, depending on the age of the learner, whether they're on a study programme, they'll have some form of maths and English to do potentially. They'll have LEAP sessions and group tutorials. However, the bricklaying, the vocational element, is as Jeff's quite rightly said, approximately a 60-40 split, and that's how the syllabus shows it. And that's really how the exams and assessments are weighted, with 60% towards the practical and 40 towards the theory. That said, from a point of view of the time commitment, I would say that it is more equally split. Because we are very limited, a lot of the learners are given entry to a level 2 qualification if they have the appropriate level of GCSEs, which essentially means that they are coming straight into a level 2 course with no prior experience. Now, having GCSEs in maths, English, geography, history, whatever it is one thing. It shows an academic ability. What it doesn't do is show practical capability. And in order that we have any chance at all of trying to take people from September to June and get them level 2 capable, certainly as far as a bricklaying delivery this year, the vast majority of time in college, so of the 12 hours in college, 10 of those hours will be in the workshop doing practical. And only 2 hours actually linked to theory delivery as far as the timetable. However, in order to cover the syllabus and be ready for the exam in March, what that does mean is that all bricklaying learners coming onto a level 2 programme this year will have a very, very significant level of coursework which has to be done away from college. They can expect up to 8 hours of coursework, theory coursework a week. The reason for that being, they can do coursework away from college, they can't lay bricks away from college.
Good point, yeah, fair enough. So do you say there's about 12 hours per week in the workshops that students will get? Or was it 10 hours?
12 hours timetable to the vocational element, 10 hours of that are timetable to the workshop. 1 hour for a formal theory class and 1 hour for a timetable directed study session. Cool.
So what sort of kind of thing will students be doing on the courses? Like what kind of projects will they be set? Is there certain sort of, building a small house, or do they, start on walls and build their way up, or what kind of thing?
Lee, do you want to answer that?
We expected to be starting from like half brick walling, solid brick walling, block work and basic cavity walling all throughout the first year. Pointing and jointing. A mass part will involve health and safety, obviously, and the principles in construction, which is generally about all types of general build within the unit, foundations, first lift, second lift, etc. from there.
Cool. So what I'm trying to gauge really is how likely would it be that I could build a house after I finish your courses? Is that like quite low, or do I need a bit more training?
It depends. Everything is dependent on individuals. That it depends what skill set an individual comes in with. What the level 2 technical diploma does is it covers what is deemed by industry to be the range of work a bricklayer working in industry would need to be able to cover. Now, from a point of view of whether that's enough in order to build a house eventually, that is going to be governed by the capability and the level of skill set that an individual develops and gets to. And the other critical factor to that is the overall confidence of the individual. I wouldn't say that having done the course with us, that would mean somebody couldn't, in principle, build their own house. I think it's very unlikely. What we do is, we don't physically build houses, large structures in the workshop. We don't have the space for that. What we do is we build smaller, more manageable size projects in order to develop the skill set. So that skill set can be taken to industry and used then on much larger projects, the building of large walls, bungalows, houses, commercial structures, whatever they are. Wow,
cool. Okay, so this one has been asked quite a lot actually, but what kit would a student have to buy before starting your courses?
Yeah, I'll take this one. It's generally considered that the student needs their own set of kit. At the end of the day, if they're going to go out and work in industry, they need their own tools anyway. So we do ask them to buy a set of tools. Generally speaking, before the start of a course, we will issue those with a list of tools. From a plastering perspective, the list that we had last year was between £70 and £100 to buy the whole lot, and that's tools, personal protective equipment, so boots, clothing, gloves, glasses. Okay. However, some people can get assistance with that to help them buy it. If they can't get assistance and they're struggling, we're quite happy to give them a list and say, well, buy these as a starting point and then add to it at a later date. So there's quite a range of options there, but somewhere in the region of sort of £70 to £100 would get them all the kit they need from a plastering point of view. I don't know the price of the brickwork. I'm sure Keith or Lee will be able to fill you in the details on that. Okay.
Yeah, I think with the bricklaying, I think the latest price that we've had from the supplier that we generally recommend the learners go to, which is a Leicester-based supplier that's sort of worked with us for many years now. I think it's just over £90 for what we class as the most basic bricklaying kit and the PPE necessary to function and work within our workshop environments. Now, what we do say is, for those people who maybe want to spend more on the kit and invest in their future very early on in a better quality of trowel or better quality of level, then they can do that. What is a requirement is that every student has that full range and list of kit in order to fulfill their studies. And failure to do so will mean that they won't be able to enter the workshop and undertake that work. So it really is an essential, and they do have to move very quickly once given a conditional offer. And if they get enrolled, if they do the online enrolment, they do need to purchase the kit and be ready to start working from the minute they walk through the doors.
Cool. Right. So very much the kit is going to be your best friend once you start the course. Perfect. Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Right. Well, will students get sort of any work experience or placement opportunities as part of your courses, or is it something you encourage or that kind of thing?
Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah. Within the study programs as a whole, learners have to do work experience or work placement. For those learners who are on the technicals in plastering and bricklaying, in addition to the fact that the study programme requires it, the qualification actually requires them to participate in what Jeff has already mentioned is realistic employer-led activities. Now, sometimes that falls into the realms of work experience. Sometimes it involves employers coming into college and doing almost like guest tutorials with learners. But through the whole process of the technicals, we will work with the learners to ensure that they meet their requirement for work experience and work placement. However, sometimes we have learners who already maybe have family or friends or relatives who are in the building industry, and they can obtain work experience for themselves through those contacts that they have. Now, we openly encourage that, and as a college we support that. All that we have to do in those situations is make sure the necessary paperwork is done by our learning coaches and the individuals who oversee the work placements, to make sure that that workplace is a safe one for us to enable them to work in.
Fab, cool. Is that the same for plastering, Jeff, or is there any?
Yes, it is. It is the same. For our sort of work experience, last time we had an employer come in and mark some of the practical work, as a good example.
Cool. Wow. Okay. So obviously a lot of our courses do offer the chance to resit GCSEs alongside the courses, just because not everyone is the best at their GCSEs the first time round. Will students be able to resit their GCSEs alongside the Bricklaying and Plastering courses?
Yes, I do believe the opportunity is there. I think it does depend on personal circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everybody's entitled to that, because we have one or two sort of older students, and I don't know how the funding works with those, whether they're allowed to resit or not.
Yeah. But for the most part, most sort of young level 16 to 18-year-olds will get that opportunity.
Yeah. You want to add to that?
Yeah.
It's just what normally if learners come to us with what was previously regarded as a grade D, which I struggle to make the analogy.
It's a 3 now. Yeah.
They are actually required to retake their GCSE if in maths and or English, whichever, as part of their study programme. Mm-hmm. If they get less than that, then they will be required to undertake maths and English at functional skills level. Now, this is for those learners who are of that compulsory education age of 16 to 18 and on a study programme. As Jeff rightly says, and especially in plastering, but in construction generally, we do tend to get a reasonable proportion of people coming to train, to be educated above the sort of age of 18. And with those individuals, usually what happens at enrolment is there is no compulsion for them to do any additional maths and English study, but they do have the option to choose to take maths and English as to run alongside their vocational course.
Wow. If you did want to find out any information, if you're an adult learner, you think we have to resit sort of functional skills or anything, we did a live stream earlier on today. It's on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel you can go and watch. That has loads of information about sort of resitting as an adult. But another question I have for you is, would a student be able to go straight into level 3, or are there requirements to do sort of a level 1 or a level 2 as they come into our college?
From a plastering perspective, we don't currently offer level 3. One of the obstacles has always been that if someone, say theoretically we were able to offer level 3, someone to go straight onto that level of course, even though they might be sort of academically capable, it misses out so much of the practical development time. So really, generally speaking, it is a difficult step to make, to jump straight into a level 3 with no previous build up to it.
Yeah. And is that the same for bricklaying as well?
Yeah, I mean, all the qualifications today are written by the awarding bodies as standalone qualifications, and the theory is that anybody can pick any level of qualification that they deem is right for them. The reality is somewhat different. However, as Jess quite rightly said, there is so much development work that takes place at the lower levels. The most natural way is to work up from the ground, just in the same way that we build a house. You start with your foundations and you gradually build till you get to the top. Now, as professionals, we I would think all three of us would advocate that as the best route to development and success in the industry. But as I say, in theory, the qualifications are written so they can be taken as standalone qualifications if an individual believes they have the necessary prior experience or skill set to enable them to go onto those individual grades of course. But of course, they will have to meet the entry criteria.
Cool. I'm a bit disappointed that is the first bricklaying and house building analogy in the stream. If we could get another one of those in before the end, I'd really appreciate it.
I'll leave the next one to Lee.
Perfect, cool. So the next question I have is, will the student be able to be a bricklayer or plasterer as soon as they leave the course, or is there sort of additional requirement they need to have?
Lee?
Sorry, say that again.
Will a student be able to be a bricklayer or plasterer as soon as they finish the course?
They won't be literally a full-on level 2 bricklayer or plasterer doing the full-time course. It would generally give them like an operative, Keith, wouldn't it? There wouldn't be a full qualified. How can I put it?
They wouldn't get an employer to take them on the pay. No. As a qualified, experienced bricklayer.
It's generally like an entry into it, isn't it? Because it's not. It's like Keith said earlier. Excuse me. It's like a gateway, helping people get into education in terms with bricklaying or plastering as a full timer. You're not getting the full-on qualification of the site experience with it.
So really, it requires you to get that sort of on-the-job experience to sort of build up your remit, but it gives you the skills to get that on-the-job experience.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. As Lee says, it sort of opens the door. It gives you an opportunity where an employer might look at considering you for work because you have that skill set, and from there, as your experience grows and you show yourself more and more capable within the job role, there is a greater opportunity that employer or future employers might then recognise you as being a capable bricklayer. Because whether it's plastering, whether it's bricklaying, it's not just about having the qualification, it's having the experience at the back of that and with that. And it's only when you can prove both that you would be truly regarded as an experienced plasterer or an experienced bricklayer and therefore paid accordingly.
Fab, cool. So Brian Marshall's commented on Facebook saying that he's excited to be going into his level 2 in plastering. He's also asked, will we get a list of tools that we need? So as we were saying earlier, once you've enrolled and you've done that, which will all be online this year, you should get your kit list. That's right, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, the kit lists have already been put together, and we've already been in contact with Trade Tools, who tends to supply most of our loaders with their kit for an up-to-date price on that range of kit.
Fab, cool. So the last sort of set of questions, so if you do have any other questions, do pop them in the comments now. We'll try and answer them before the end of the stream. But the last sort of set of questions I have, so would you like to tell me sort of like the entry requirements for your courses?
There isn't.
Oh, go on, Jeff.
Well, to be honest, I was just going to say there is an entry requirement. I don't know off the top of my head I can't remember what the entry requirement was. And we were looking at sort of C's and D's minimum.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge. and as far as I know, that's still the same unless there's been any changes.
Cool. So is it a grade 4 in maths and English, or you reset them? Is that sort of what we're thinking?
Yes, I think that's it. Yes.
Perfect. And is that the same for the?
I would just say I'm not 100% on what that grade was, what the cut-off point was.
That's cool. So if you are sort of wanting to check, you have a look on the website, and I think all of the up-to-date details are on there as well. Is that the same for bricklaying, Keith? Is there certain entry requirements?
Yeah. Well, the entry requirements are common across all the trades, all the craft trades, plastering, brick, and wood trades, and decorating. It is entry requirement is to have 3s, I think it is, or what was Ds in maths and English. However, as we've talked about previously, we do sometimes have learners who are older than sort of 18, and so not requiring to do a study program, and they might have prior learning which would enable them to come on the course. They might have previously started a craft qualification, maybe not finished it, or they may have done a level 1 previously and finished that. So even if those people don't have the maths and English, they get entry onto the course because of their prior experience and abilities, provided of course they can prove it. All sorts of enrolments are based on individuals being able to substantiate whatever criteria they believe they meet in order for us to offer them a place on the course.
Cool, perfect. A couple of the questions, just sort of more chill questions, I guess. So when a student is doing the courses, obviously they have their sort of PPE that they bring. Will they need sort of a set of clothes to wear, or a change of clothes, would you recommend, or could they come in their scrubs?
We sort of generally advise that they preferably bring a change of clothes, and certainly bring a change of shoes. At the end of the day, whether you're doing plastering or whether you're doing brick, you will get the materials on your clothing. You'll get materials in the treads of your boots, and if you leave the workshop like that, then you basically leave a trail wherever you go. So
I'm sure mums won't be very happy about that.
Yeah, there is that side.
College cleaners won't be happy about it.
College cleaners for one. I mean, it's even getting onto at different times, getting onto public transport and going home, or getting in somebody's car going home. You know, you transfer all that muck and mess with you. So we encourage you to change your clothes and essentially change your shoes.
Wow. And the last sort of question I have for you is, what happens if I get an apprenticeship after I've already applied?
Do you want me to take that?
Yes, if you wish, yeah.
I mean, all we normally say to any learner that's expressed an interest in coming on a full-time course, if you are offered a place, but then in the interim you're fortunate enough to be offered an apprenticeship, all we ask is that the individual lets us know, and that way we can sort of adjust our records and take the individual off the full-time offer, and we'll hope to see that individual as an apprentice at Leicester College rather than as a full-time student.
Fab, thanks guys. So that's all the sort of questions I have for you. And obviously the last thing is, if you are thinking of applying, if it's going to be like, how do I apply? Just head on over to the website, find the sort of courses that you're interested in, and click on the Apply Now button, and you can apply to us directly now. Enrollment will be online, so if you are sort of applied already and you are waiting to see what happens, you can find out a little bit later on what's going to happen once enrollment opens up and everything gets sorted. You'll find out exactly what you need to do. Is there anything else that you guys want to add about any students that are thinking of doing either of your courses, or
just be prepared to work very hard, prepared to have a bit of a sore back and getting mucky. You know, the building industry isn't an easy industry, and our courses reflect that. It's as realistic as we can make it. But for those who commit, for those who are genuinely interested in a career, it's both plastering and the bricklaying routes can be extremely rewarding. Very enjoyable courses, very hands-on, and can lead to a lot of reward in the long term for any individual that shows themselves capable and interested.
Fab. Anything else you guys would like to add, or is Keith summed up a lovely?
No, he's just summed that up quite nicely.
Okay.
It is hard. It is mucky at times, but yeah, it's good.
That's all right though. So yeah, that's all we sort of have time for today. If you have any other questions that haven't been answered today, or you would sort of not confident enough to send them over, you can message us directly, direct message us, or comment on any of the posts, and we'll do our best to answer them. Any other questions that you have, you can email info@leicestercollege.ac.uk, and they'll do their best to answer your question. But that is about all we have from all of us. So thanks very much for joining me, guys. Otherwise, I would have had no idea what to say. So I really appreciate you all being here. Thanks. And we'll hopefully see you in September, or if not September, a little bit after September, given what's going on. But we'll see you very, very soon. So thanks very much for watching.
Okay, see ya. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Ashton.